Okay, and so today we looked at all sorts of ways of distributing. And again, if you weren't in class today, the distributing means to hand out. So when you have an expression like this, it's an expression. Um, you're looking at, well, actually we started with 21 plus 14, and we said what is the biggest number that goes into 21 that also goes in 14. And so I kind of do upside down division, if you haven't seen that in any other lessons. Or I look at the multiplication chart and I look for 21 and 14 to be in both the same column or the same row. It doesn't matter which one. However, you look at that and I see that 7 goes into 21 three times, 7 goes into 14 two times. Since 3 and 2 are relatively prime, then the most efficient way I could write this using the distributive property, I'm going to take out that 7, put it out in front of parentheses, and then inside the parentheses, I'm going to put 3 plus 2. And to go the other way, when you see a number outside the parentheses, according to order of operations, we're supposed to do what's in parentheses first. And right here with 3 plus 2, that's pretty easy. I can 5. That's 5 times 7 is pretty easy for most of you to do. But later on, you're going to see that they're going to get into letters and stuff. And so we want to get in good habits now when it's easier and you have multiple ways to check your answer. You want to get in good habits for when this becomes more difficult. And then down here, they show it both ways. So like if you're given a 72 and a 45, you can factor out a 9, and it's 9 times 8 and 9 times 5. If you were given the 9, 8, and 5, you could find the numbers inside by simply just multiplying. So let's take a look at some of the problems they gave you. So here, again, looking at my multiplication chart, I've got 42 and 77. They both show up in the column or row that are multiples of 7. So I'm going to take out my 7, and that's times 6 times 11. And so over here, I'm going to have, come on, 7, 6, 11. And I'm good to go. Next, 2 and 9 are relatively prime. The only column or row I'm going to find those in is 1. This is kind of a silly problem to do because you're saying that 2 plus 9 is the same as 1 times 2 plus 9. A lot of work. Again, it's getting you ready for future problems that are going to be more difficult. On 27 and 90, when I look, the only column that both of those show up on, I mean, they show up on 3 for sure, but they also show up on 9. 9 is the biggest number that goes into both of those. And so 9 times 3 and 9 times 10 would probably be the best way to do that. I could have done 3 times 9 and 3 times 30 because it's also on my multiplication chart, but I'm going to do the 9s. Come on, 0. Okay, 42 and 12. Well, they show up in 2s. They show up in 3s. They show up in, not 4s. They show up in 6. If they show up in 2 and they show up in 3, if 2's a check and 3's a check, then 6 is definitely a check. So I'm going to go with 6 times 7, 6 times 2, 6, 7. Oh my gosh. How many times does that come up this year? 6, 7, 6, 7. And we're going to keep going from there. Sorry about that. I know that 5 times 2 is 10, and 5 times 4 is 20. So I'm looking for things that make sense. This is 2 plus 4, and 2 plus 4 is 6. So 5 times 2 plus 4 totally works. 5 times 2 plus, no, that's not right. But 5 times 2 and 5 times 4, that definitely works. 5 times 2 times 4, that's like the volume of this thing. That wouldn't work. 5 plus 2 plus 4, no. But 5 plus 6 totally works. All of those are good to go. Here it says 54, so if I drew this and I've got a 54 and a 66, ooh, that is the same as 2 times 27 plus 33, but it says greatest common factor. 3 would also work. It's 18, and they give me that 22. And if 2 works and 3 works, then I know 6 has to also work. And yeah, 9 plus 11, and then 9 plus 11 are relatively prime. Now, if you got any of these other ones, like 27 and 33, I can see that there's a factor of 3 that can still be pulled out. 18 and 22, I can see that they're both even, so a 2 can get pulled out. But with 9 and 11, 11's prime, so they don't have anything in common there. Now, this originally messed me up. I don't know. I'm not thinking straight this morning. I've got to write smaller, I think. But I got to line the decimal points up and go slowly. The multiplication problems were so easy for me that I kind of blew off showing all of my steps correctly and messed up my first video. So I'm adding these two numbers. 8, I put a placeholder 0. 5 and 6 is 11. Carry the 1, I get a 5, 0, 3. And then the problem here is if you miss one of these, you don't know which one you missed. And I don't want you using a calculator. Please, no calculators. Let's do 6.105. This is the one I messed up. 1.0415. I did that. It was when I went to borrow from, I borrowed twice from the same number, and I didn't need to. So 0 minus 5, I can't do that, so I'm going to borrow from here, make that a 4, this becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5, 4 minus 1 is 3. Then I've got 10, well, I saw it as a 10, and I said, oh, that's a 6, and that's not how it works. You have to borrow from the dimes, so now you have 0 dimes, and then you're going to get 10 pennies. Yeah, that totally works. Why didn't it work for me earlier? 10 minus 4 is 6, 0 minus 0 is 0, and then 6 minus 1 is 5. Now, to check a subtraction problem, you can add the numbers. So right here, this is how I would check this. I don't really normally check my addition, but I do check my subtraction. I got 5 and 5 makes 10. This would become 5. Nothing carried. 4 plus 6 is 10. Carry the 1. And 1 and 5 is 6. Is that what I started with? Yes. So I know that that right there is my correct answer. 5.0635. Totally butchered that in my first one. 3.4, I'm going to add a couple zeros, minus 0.005, 5 thousandths. Borrow from the 4 dimes makes it 3 dimes, gives me 10 pennies. Borrow from the 10 pennies makes it 9 pennies, and I get 10 tenths of a penny. Here we go. 5, 9, 3, 3. And if I double check this and I added these two together, I'm going to get that 400. 3, let's get that typed in. 3.395. Okay, and the last one is an addition problem. I'm not even going to do work on this one. 4.5, there's nothing that lines up, there's just zeros. So you have 4 plus 0, 5 plus 0. You get another 0, don't lose that one. And then I have a 9 way at the end. Let's see how I do this time. Yay, got them all correct. That first video I did not. I had a 3 out of 4 on number 6. So if you have any questions on any of these, please ask in class. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.